Hello, beautiful black people. I hope that all is well in your world and this day is progressing very, very well for you and all of your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful black loved ones. Beautiful black people, know that there is a race that has been occurring. There is a race, R-A-C-E, that has been occurring in plain sight. In plain sight. Think about this. The race against time. I call it the race against time. It entails how white folks fear of genetic annihilation. And the operative two words are genetic annihilation. And white folks' fear of genetic annihilation have propagated abortion bans, abortion legislation, abortion bans, abortion legislations, killing abortion doctors, blowing up abortion clinics, etc., etc. This anti-abortion legislation is rooted and fueled by a white folks extinction anxiety. It's called an extinction anxiety. An extinction anxiety. And it carries on a long tradition of white folks fearing that they will become a minority. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters, it is still there. It is still there. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. The police were created to catch runaway slaves. Did you know that? The police was created to catch runaway slaves and to protect white folks, white society, from black folks revolting. Police was created to catch runaway slaves and to protect white folks, white society, from black folks revolting. That is factual, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. White supremacy is rooted in the fear of genetic annihilation. White supremacy is rooted in the fear of white genetic annihilation. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. It is 2020, and believe it or not, racism is just as alive today as it has ever been. Do you know that these goon squads, these mercenaries, these killers, these white folks, killers, this army of white folks in Portland, Oregon, now the white boy want to be dictator, Trump, is threatening to send them to Albuquerque, New Mexico, Chicago, Illinois, and other cities. He say that they are going to quell the protests, the unrest, the black-on-black crime. What he's actually doing is stoking fear in white folks. He's stoking fear in white folks in hopes that stoking fear, instilling fear in white folks will bring them to the polls in November and vote for Trump to re-elect him. That's the intentions of these gangs of white armed mercenary killers that Trump have sanctioned to go out, hunt, and kill black folks and white folks, by the way. Racism is just as alive today as it has ever been. And when white folks deny the existence of racism in today's society, that is a crime in itself. And you hear these small-minded, empty vessel, low IQ white folks like Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, Kevin McCarthy, deny that racism exists. In order to rid the world of racism, in order to rid the world of racism, it must be confronted and dealt with appropriately. If we are ever to see a world without racism, then we must understand racism. Then, after we understand racism, we must annihilate racism. In order for there to be justice in this world, everyone in the known universe, everyone in the known universe, everyone in the known universe, and in all areas of activity, in all areas of activities that we black folks have to participate in, must be able to live without being mistreated and are victims of violence, criminalization, public lynching, etc., etc. Low IQ, low info white folks. What is racism? What is racism? What is it? How do white folks define racism? They will immediately go to the Webster's dictionary. They have done that to me before. They directed me to a Webster's dictionary definition, narrow definition of racism. And then they will follow that up by saying, according to this Webster's definition, I cannot be a racist. But I prefer to look at racism from a perspective of a expert black psychologist. Her name was Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She will espouse on what racism actually is and how much of our lives racism encompasses, discarding the narrow definition of racism that is in the Webster's dictionary. White skin is a type of albinism. That's what white skin is. It's a type of albinism. There's no difference between the white skin of a white person and the skin of a person designated as an albino. There's no difference. They have the same type skin. White-skinned people, white-skinned folks came into existence thousands of years ago as the albino mutant offspring, and the operative word there is mutant, M-U-T-A-N-T. The albino mutant offsprings of black-skinned mothers and fathers in Africa. Black-skinned mothers and fathers in Africa. A sizable number of these black parents had produced, rejected, and then cast out of the community their genetic defective albino offspring. You get that? Genetic defective albino offsprings. To live away from the normal black skin pigment population with the awareness of their rejection and alienation. Anxiety in the Western civilization and culture stems from the origin. It stems from the origin of that culture of rejection and alienation, which rests most fundamentally in the production of albino mutants from black parents in Africa. Anxiety like alienation in Western culture is the result of the rejection of these albinos because of their genetic deficiency status and their subsequent abandonment and migration northward to form what is now recognized as the white race. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters, this global white collective maintains a different appearance from the rest of humankind, and they dislike the difference. White folks dislike that difference. Therefore, they tan, T-A-N, and use makeup. They remain a minority of the world's people. They are only 1/10 of the world's population. They are surrounded globally by black, brown, red, and yellow global majority. The white global collective remains genetically recessive to the black, brown, red, and yellow global majority, and lives each day and each minute of every hour in the continuous fear of white annihilation by the global majority of genetic dominance. This fundamental fear of albino isolation, albino abandonment, and genetic annihilation is at the core of Western civilization today. A civilization structured to ensure white genetic survival. This survival plan necessitates the subjugation and control of all non-white folks. I define this subjugation and control as the white supremacy system. That is what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said regarding racism and this global white supremacy system that has been propagated. And all folks on this planet have been indoctrinated with that white supremacy pack of lies in one form or another, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. It is the fear of white genetic annihilation that is driving the Republican Party, that is driving the tyrant and the tyranny that Trump has created on this plantation called America the past 4 years. It is the fear of white genetic annihilation that is driving, motivating Trump to create these armies, small armies of fake police, of mercenary, sanctioned killers that are put in place to control, to put down any revolts, any revolting that is presented by non-white folks. That's the intention of the tyrant Trump. That's the intentions of the Republican Party. That's the intentions of these fake-ass, far-right, Christian right, fake religious leaders like Jerry Falwell Jr. and Franklin Graham. They are all in fear of becoming a minority right here on this plantation called America. And these folks are willing to do almost anything in order to prevent that from happening. Do you see why the white racist Republican Party have gone berserk with the power that they have and how they use it? Do you see why Trump and his tyranny have propagated, proliferated right here in this country in the past 4 years? Do you see how he has consistently attempted to divide Americans, white folks against black folks, white folks against all non-white folks? That's the division. It worked for Nixon back in the late 60s. It has worked for the Republican Party. It worked for Reagan back in the 80s. It worked for George H.W. Bush. It's that Southern strategy thing where they divide America on the basis of race. Trump is trying to scare white folks into voting for him in November. He says your homes, the values of your homes in the suburbs are going to decrease because black folks and brown folks are coming to your lily white suburbs. He said you have to be fearful of leaving your home because black folks and brown folks are out of control. They want to take your stuff. They want to take your guns away. And who knows? White folks process in their brains much more fear, anger, and hatred than we do. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. We will see how it goes in November of this year. That's all I have on this one.